All right, so I posted this on the Warframe Reddit earlier today, and I got a lot of comments, and I want to reply to all of them. There are a decent amount of them, and a lot of them take up similar points, and I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of the different comments, some of which are relevant to the topic at hand, which is void shells, but also relevant to Warframe and the Warframe community, as well as just gaming communities in general. So, what I'm going to be doing in this recording, which I have no idea how long it's going to be, I'm going to try and go through most of the comments and give my thoughts about them. Uh, yeah, so let's just start. So, Disaster Child replies and says, prior to AOTC, Angels of the Ceremon, players have been asking for modular textures on Warframe since like forever. However, to make it possible to switch around materials on existing Warframe skins, they would have to go through and update a massive amount of textures, a massive amount of texture-related stuff in the game. It's a time sink they can't afford to stop other development to go through with, so they compromised and made voidshell skins, modular textures as skins separate from the old skins. So the last part here, where he says they compromised, this is true, obviously. Can't deny that. It's a time sink they can't afford. So this is weird to me, because not only does it assume that with my post, that I implied that DE should go back and make every single skin in the entire game void shell compatible. That is not what I meant. My intention or my suggestion or the discussion here is why it's not possible for them to make more skins than just the void shell ones. For example, Prime Warframes, new Warframe releases, or in this specific case here in the picture, uh, just base Varuna. So what is going on in this picture, if you're not aware, is that I had the Varuna void shell skin on, and then I switched to the normal Varuna skin, and it applied some of the void shell textures, not one-to-one. This metallic texture is not the same as on the void shell helmet here, but it still recognizes it as metallic. You can also see here the legs. It applied one of the void shell textures. So there is, and you can also see here, right here, one of the void shell textures applied. So there's clearly some sort of system in some way that allows you to apply these void shell skins. If you look really close, you can probably find some misalignments or something like that. But I find it very confusing and weird that so many people are saying that it would take a lot of work to apply the void shell systems to all the skins when they themselves don't actually know how the game is set up. It's very easy to say that, oh, it's too hard, it takes so much time. It's very easy to take the position that game development is super hard and always complicated because, well, that's generally the good take. That's generally the right take. It's not that easy to do things. And it's also natural to believe that because, well, most people don't know how game development is. So saying that it's hard is probably more correct than saying it's easy. That does not change the fact that you know absolutely nothing about what you're talking about unless you yourself are a game developer, and even then you don't work at DE or have any clue how the game's code is built or how any of their systems are built either. So it is very possible that it is a simple one-to-one conversion. You could just slap on void shell skins on a lot of different warframes and it would just work. It is possible that's the case. Like, there's really no way to know. uh all right, so let's continue. uh oh, all right. They have to rebuild the skins to apply textures freely. Sure, the defaults may look fine until you look closer and notice there's a bunch of spots which don't apply a logical texture, if at all. The lighting may also make it look terrible as well. So this is true. Like I said earlier, there might be some minor errors in the skins. But the thing here is that this happens with every skin. This is not unique to these changes if they would do them. There are plenty of actual like Warframe looks. There's plenty of Tenogen. There's plenty of deluxe skins that have alignment issues, clipping, etc. A bunch of different issues with them. And what do? They fix it. Every time they release something new and there's a problem with a texture or misalignment or stretching or whatever it might be, they fix it. Like I don't understand what the problem is here. Like, yeah, things will go wrong, but there's no reason why they can't fix them. Like this instantly just assumes that transferring this system onto everything would just be disastrous. It would just instantly, it would just look completely terrible. It would be unsalvageable, and they would dig themselves a hole so deep that they would never be able to fix it. And I that's weird. And it also assumes that these changes would be implemented instantly. They would just work on every single skin in the entire game and then just release them all in one patch. That's not what I meant. That's not what any sane person will assume when I say, or anyone says, that it would be cool to have void shell textures on every single skin. So these comments just don't make sense, because it's very possible for DE to just maybe do one or two defaults. Like, how many Warframes are there in the game? There's, I don't know. I actually don't know how many Warframes there are, but it can't be above 100 at least. So if they did like two a release, sure, it would take forever, but they would get there eventually. And they don't even have to go back and do the old ones if they don't want to. Just like deluxe skins, they could just do some of them sometimes when they feel like it. When they feel like they could even lock it behind platinum. You could pay 50 platinum to unlock void shell on your Warframe or something. I don't care. I really don't. Like, D making money, I don't care. Like, I already buy the void shell skins. I already buy deluxe skins. I wouldn't care if they made void shells available. It's just more customization for me. Like, sure, it would be great if it was free, but ultimately I don't care, because platinum is not an exclusive money currency. I could farm it. So for me, it really doesn't matter. All right, let's continue anyways. A lot of these comments are going to be very similar. And I'm going to be a bit rambly in this recording as well. This is the first time I do record my opinion on stuff like this. Okay. So let's see. I don't know what this comment is talking about. I didn't really customize my call too much, but it looked fine when I did it. It's definitely possible that he's right, though. Also, Call is not a Warframe, so his textures might be a bit way older than a lot of the Warframes and a bit outdated, because he's a Grenier, and I don't think they've done any updates to Grenier textures since release, although I'm not sure about that. All right. I'm pretty sure you're showing, or Nopers9 is saying, I'm pretty sure what you're showing isn't the regular skins are hooked up with void shell materials, but rather a bug that shoddily applies some of the textures to the skin. Yes, like I said earlier, it doesn't apply the textures perfectly. Some of the textures are not the same; they're slightly different. Some of the void shell didn't even apply, but that doesn't change that some of them got applied, and some of them got applied really well. And that seems like a simple fix in my mind, at least, because if you're able to make it take a different texture than it originally takes, then the next step would be to just give it options. I don't know how programming works, so what I'm saying here has as much weight as all the people that says it's really hard. So when I say it's really easy, then it's not, it doesn't hold up, but theoretically it is a possibility that it is not a far shot that it would be more possible. And even so, if they just made it so you could switch between like the base textures of a Warframe and then making some of them metallic, then I'd be fine with that too. It is more customization in general is good. Also, D said when announcing the skins that to make these features available on a regular frame skins, they would have to manually go over and apply the voidshell capabilities to each and every one. Hence the decision to just make the skins instead of, yeah, it's the same what the previous comment said. Again, when you describe doing work, it will sound hard. When you say they would have to go back and manually change, manually go over and apply the voidshell capabilities, yeah, if you describe work, it will sound hard. If I describe all the work it takes to make a deluxe skin, it'll sound impossible, okay? Like, just describing the work at hand that's being suggested doesn't make it impossible. I don't understand this take at all. It is so dismissive of the actual argument. It's like saying, like, imagine an I know it's a hyperbole, but imagine if people with every invention that has benefited humanity ever, people just went, well, that sounds hard to do, so we should never do it. Even though when we end up doing it, it's super beneficial for society and also it made us a lot of money. I can describe the most simple task and it will sound hard to someone that doesn't know how to do it. I really hate this argument so much because it's just it's so dismissive of the actual argument. Pretty sure there's some word for this type of argument. Some, I don't know if it's a logical fallacy or something. It just seems completely, I don't know. It doesn't actually say anything other than I don't understand it, or it sounds hard, therefore it's impossible. All right, so that someone replied. Also, new skins equal plat sync, no inflation on player market, more money for DS, people buy more plat. I don't inflation on the plat market. What like there's no way to track the economy in Warframe at all. And even if there was, we're definitely not in an inflation. We're in a deflation, if anything. Because, and this is just a guess, okay? I think that most plat holders, the people that have a bunch of platinum, not only are they just sitting on it, as people with a lot of currency tend to do in any context, I also think that a lot of people that held that currency is no longer playing. The people that played forever and amassed massive amount of platinums are probably not playing the game anymore. And even if they are, like, it doesn't change anything. If like less plat on the market, there's always going to be more and more and more plat on the market because new players are going to join and people are going to buy platinum. Like, platinum doesn't disappear unless someone stops playing the game and just sits on it. And I don't think these sitting in their offices and tracking how much platinum is in circulation, I don't think it's that deep. And even if this was the case, and if the case was that platinum is inflated, then it would be able to be seen in the like Warframe market, for example. Like, prime prices would have went up if there's more platinum. Like, if platinum is easier to get, if more people have platinum, the plat prices of every prime should have went up. But they haven't. They have went down consistently over the years. And yeah, that's partly because they made it easy to farm primes, of course, and they also made it there's also more players than it was years ago. So, that it's not really a good like measurement anyways. But still, I don't really see this argument as valid in this conversation, especially since the conversation is not even about how profitable it would be for DE. I don't I don't know about everyone else, but when I criticize a game or art or like any media at all, I don't do so based on oh, I think they should do this because it would make them more money. Like, I don't care how much money they make. All I care is that they make a good product. And if that means them making more money, then yeah, sure, that's a bonus. But you don't criticize art based on how, like, your criticism isn't there, it doesn't exist for them to make more money. Your criticism is to help them make a better product, or to give your opinion on something, to give your vision of a product. The profitability of it is not a factor when criticizing any media at all. All right, let's continue reading. It's possible to apply it to existing textures, but the mapping is not designed for it, so you get a lot of warping, inconsistent sizing. Again, how do you know this? Do you work at DE? I don't think so. Are you even a game developer? I don't know. Or are you just making shit up? Because, could be true, but I don't know why you somehow know exactly this. And if it turns out that you are a game developer, then sure, you still don't work at DE. And again, all the other arguments I've had, still not a real argument, still not actually addressing the, like, adding anything to this discussion or thinking about it. It's just basically giving excuses to why they can't do it rather than thinking about why it would be cool if they did do it. All right. It is possible, but they decided it isn't worth the effort. To this day, I still think there are some non-PBR skins, like the really old Immortal skins from the effort to update every texture in the game some 8 years ago, so they opted to monetize it. A new line of skin purpose built for the system. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it is possible, but it is expensive. There's no denying that it would be an undertaking. But as I said earlier, they don't need to do it all at one time. They don't need to do it retroactively. And yeah, duh, things take time. Things cost money to do. But again, I'm not criticizing on the basis of how much money my criticism would make them. I'm criticizing the game or the media based on how I desire or would imagine the product could improve. Oops. So my reply here is, there we go, I use Reddit that much. Wait. All skins are already hooked up with materials to some extent, hence where the bug in the picture is possible. I don't know why this is getting downvotes. This is objectively true. Like, this is just how 3D modeling works. Every single skin has a texture. Like, every part of the Warframe has a texture. That's just, you already have a way to change the color. The texture is the next step. Like, I this is not a wrong statement. This is how the game works. This is how 3D modeling works. If you make a 3D model, it will have a texture. Even if it's the default texture, it has a texture, and every Warframe in the game has a texture. It's not just a blank texture. You can zoom into any Warframe on any part of them, and they will have a texture. And that code or that system is somehow available in some way. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to make void shells to begin with. And yeah, it's not as easy to just hook up the system instantly, to just like press a button and it's done. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is possible. Because of the picture, it shows that it is possible to transfer one texture over another to some extent, hence why they would have to redo it anyway to fix the problem of appearing during the bug. Okay, again, yeah, they would have to fix it, but that's how game development is, right? You love talking about how game development works. That game developments work that way. You make a new feature and then you have to bug fix it. You're just making the assumption that it would be too hard. If I recall, I think they have mentioned due to spaghetti code and having a redo all past skins was too difficult. Don't quote me on that. I think it was when they first released voidshell stuff. I think I remember that too, though. So you're probably right. I'm on this side that I wish I didn't have to buy another skin just to get the proper materials to color the things I want. But it's that taxing that I guess I can I can let it slide. This is my opinion as well. Like, it's not the end of the world if they don't do this. It's not in the game, and I'm still alive. Like, I'm still playing the game regardless if they add it or not. But again, my criticism or the discussion I wanted to have is about why is the void shim tied to specific skins? Like, why can't it be possible to add it to the base release of a Warframe? Why can't they add it to primes? I'm not saying I understand that this might it is possible to interpret this as why won't they add this system to every other skin? So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, why does it have to be tied to a singular type of skin? Why can't they add it to prime warframes in the future? Why can't they add it to deluxe skins? Why can't they, etc., etc., etc.? Like, future releases, they could do this. It'd be really cool to have a deluxe skin that had voidshell system. I don't know why it has to be tied to voidshell skins in particular. It just feels weird. It's like if they made a color palette, but only a certain skin line. Like, imagine if they made a color palette, and then this color palette has some pretty cool colors, but you could only use these colors on immortal skins. Like, why? Like, why restrict it to that? Why not allow that color palette? It might have some cool colors, like textures on the colors or something. I don't know. That is pretty much void shells actually, but still. Like, what if the color palette had shaders similar to like in Destiny 2, for example, where there's a bit more texture to it, a bit more like maybe animated or whatever. And I just don't see why they would restrict it to one skin line. They could add it to primes, etc. Like I said so many times. All right. That's what they basically said on the dev stream. You're correct. Yeah, that's what I also said. I'm glad it is. I hate textures. Well, don't use them then. That's simple. Even void shells. The void shells don't actually. I think some of the void shell skins they could just. This is just a confusing comment because with a void shell system, you don't have to use void shells. You could just leave them blank and just have the default textures. Like, it's not a real issue at all. Like, this is just not anything. Officially, it's too much work to be viable. Officially, I mean, yeah, they've said that, but again, I'm not making criticism based on what DE thinks would be profitable. I'm making it based on what I believe would make it what I believe would make a cool system, make the game better, etc., etc. In practice, a lot of work, but completely feasible. And the only reason it won't happen is that no one at DE could possibly convince Tencent executive that it's worth diverting any amount of development time into giving people a massive free customization overhaul when cosmetics are the primary source of revenue for Warframe. I find this is a lot of assumptions. So D could possibly convince Tencent executives. I don't know about their relationship with Tencent. I know they're owned by Tencent, and that's about it. If they could convince them of anything, it would be that customization is the heart of Warframe. It is what makes Warframe popular, and if they could somehow enhance that experience, that would make the game more popular. Like, I can't think of a better argument to do this, and also assuming that it would have to be free. Again, put a 50 platinum cost, like putting a Orokin catalyst on your weapon. Although I would argue that those actually I don't care about that either. Like, just like an Orokin catalyst, just pay a small sum of platinum to put a modifier on your Warframe, and then boom, you can apply void shells. It would be there's just think of how many Warframes people have, right? Like 50, 60 or whatever. They have 50 Warframes. So you would have to pay 50 platinum per Warframe to unlock their void shell capabilities. It doesn't even have to be 50, it could be 100. That's a lot of freaking platinum. That's a lot of profit they could make. Again, like, you could definitely make money of this. It doesn't have to be free. Okay. But number of screens you can spend money on. Yes, that's partly true. That's part of the reason why they're doing it, but it's not the entire reason. Money. This is again simple answer, but yeah. I don't vote that as well, but technically correct. With infinite money, you don't need infinite money. That's ridiculous. D could hire more visual artists to do artists to laboriously redo the old skins without impeding future development. I responded to this. I don't know if it's here. Yeah, it is here. This basically takes up a lot of things I've mentioned here. To just summarize it quickly, you don't need infinite money. Why do you assume that they have to do it laboriously? Why can't they just split it up, do it more slowly? Also, this like D is owned by Tencent, literally the biggest video game publisher in the entire world, or media company, or whatever they are. Money is not the biggest issue here. It's a logistics issue or a sales pitch issue. They need to convince Tencent to actually invest the money. And it's possible that D wants to do exactly what I'm saying. Like a lot of these things. I think a lot of suggestions from players, like my suggestion to make a feature that's really cool. I think most game developers want to implement them, but they can't because the higher ups are telling them it wouldn't be profitable, and they won't like greenlight it. Basically, I think most game developers would agree with most suggestions like this, but there are still somehow a bunch of weirdos that like to defend the higher ups decision to not do it because it's either risky, not guaranteed profit, or whatever. Like, why do we as gamers care even about how profitable a company is? It just feels weird. We should only care about how good the product is, and that's it. Voidshell skins are more work for D, so if D wants to keep the amount of cosmetic release consistent, which they probably rightfully assume is needed to keep the revenue stream on at least the same level as it was before introducing the void shells, they simply cannot make every cosmetic a void shell cosmetic. I don't think it would be any. Yeah, the next comment is saying, how would they be more work? Making a UI for the system so that players have control of the materials would have been extra work. But now that set up with the skins would take the same resources as any other to create. Yeah, like if you make a new deluxe skin with the void shell system already implemented or in mind, it would just be the same amount of work. It's not extra work because you're already doing the texture application process or whatever when you're making the skin. Like, it's just allowing more variety. The work isn't ticking a box that makes it magically work. That is true, but no one is saying that. Void shell skins have to be checked with every available void shell and require more work than a traditional skin. Why? How do you know this? Again, do you work at DE? I don't think so. Lightning is also way more complex since it has to be looked up and checked multiple times. Multiple equipable void shells. Again, I am not a video game developer. I don't know how this exactly works, but from what I remember choosing Blender a couple of years ago, when you apply a texture to something, the texture just has certain it's called certain features to it. So if I sculpt a car or if I sculpt a person, if I apply a certain texture to them, then that doesn't change how the textures, like fundamentals or features, work. Like, sure, there might be no, like it wouldn't change anything. It would just I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that these people know what they're talking about, or that I don't think most people have even opened Blender or even tried using it, or so. I just find all this just to be complete bullshit. I don't know what they're basing it on. They would gladly take on that knowledge into their workforce. It is no secret that the biggest issue at DE is not funding, it is not creativity, it is not talent, it's management. This is what every Glassdoor article of DE has ever said. This is what the game shows. DE themselves have said during a dev stream that they sometimes make stuff and then forget to release it because everyone just forgot to add it to the update. They'll make an asset, they'll make a change, and they will just forget to add it, which just shows that the management or the planning or the way the work at DE is structured is very flawed and very loose. And sure, that makes for a pretty good work environment to some degree. It's pretty nice to not have super high pressure or just being able to do whatever you want, but it's also stressing, which is why all those Glassdoor articles exist. Whatever, I'm going to talk more about that because I don't actually know too much about it. That's entirely down to the system at large. If they have to go over every skin with a fine-tooth comb, that shows they rushed out the base system and are now wantonly, I don't know what that means, that word, wantonly, wasting resources on every subsequent release. Yes. This is very true, and this is very common in game development, and I know that because I play games, and anyone who plays video games will be able to know that this is true. There are so much spaghetti code games that build on bad systems. The developers knows it, the players knows it, management knows it, but that's just how it is. It's just accepted that that's how it works. So doing future releases as voidshell compatible would be great, and it would make it easier in the future if they ever decide to actually go back and do this. As I see it, if they are able to refine the voidshell system, they're able to make it easier to implement, then there's no reason for them not to go back and do it to every single skin. If there's some new technology, some new way, they streamline the technology or whatever, then they would just save themselves a bunch of work by just doing future releases as voidshell. Just like I've been saying earlier. But let's continue. Yeah, it's so we buy the skins. This gets a lot of downvotes again. I don't understand why, but whatever. More comments about, oh, it would take time, so we shouldn't do it. It's a technical limitation. I would like to upload to every skin, but that would currently necessitate the work of redoing every single skin in game. They don't have to do it all at the same time. They don't have to do every single skin. They don't have to. So many assumptions here. It's like, oh, I need to build a house because I need to live somewhere, but that would mean I would have to go cut down trees, and I would have to go do this and this and this and this and this. Oh, I would have to go cut down trees, but oh, I don't have an axe, or the trees are on top of a really steep hill, maybe, who knows. Like, you're just making assumptions that would just you're making the assumption that it would be as hard as you could imagine. And you're making it harder for yourself. Like, oh, I would have to carry the wood to the place I want to build a house. Yeah, or you could use a wagon or something. There are many different ways to do a task. You don't have to do it the hardest way. You don't have to do it all at the same time. You don't have to do it alone, etc., etc. So sadly, until a new technology arises and is concluded at new, we will be limited to the specific voidshell skins. Is this the reality? I have nothing more to say on that. Applying voidshell features to all skins would make existing skins look similar to one another to the point it's no longer worth buying some of them. What kind of logic is this? Yeah, if you color all your Warframes the same, then yeah, they will look similar. What do you mean? What? What is his logic? Yeah, if I apply the same customization to all my Warframes, then they will all look the same. Why would I need to buy a new skin when I can just make it look have the same colors or textures or whatever. You don't buy skins because of the textures. At least I don't. I don't think most people do. I think they buy them for the like the actual model, you know? Luck skins aren't popular because they have cool textures. They're popular because they give you Warframe a different model. This is like, regardless if it had voidshell or not, this would still apply. What? This makes no sense. It would make Tenogen pretty much useless? No, it wouldn't. No. Not only are Tenogen skins completely different because they're completely different, like, base art. Basically, it's not like there's texture, there's model, and there's art. It's the same model, it's the same text, or well, the textures are different, and it's just different art as well. This is this his entire argument is just weird. I honestly think it's fine that it's fine, yeah, it's fine, but it could be better. Like two things. They would have to rework every single skin. No, they wouldn't. They could just do some of them. This is like saying deluxe skins aren't worth doing because they would have to make one for every Warframe. No, they don't. You could just make it for some Warframes. I don't get it. I just want voidshell system on Chroma Prime and not his base version. I don't like his base version. I agree. It'd be sick to have voidshells on primes. And who wouldn't like that? Primes are already like kind of underwhelming in modern times. They're just glorified skins. The minor stat bonuses are like barely relevant. And like the primes are so expensive when you buy them in Prime Access and stuff. It's not like they can't afford to make primes void shells. Oh no, we can't do that because it's too expensive. We wouldn't earn any money. What do you mean? Primes are literally the most expensive thing you can buy in the game. If you buy prime, like the prime accessory, or not the prime accessory, the prime pack, like when a new prime comes out, you can buy them for real money, and they're really, really expensive for no reason other than to bank on people who don't want to farm or just have a lot of money, I guess, or disposable income rather. They would basically have to retexture every single skin. No, they would not. Only thing I can figure is there are certain effects like gradients that maybe don't play well with however they've got the material shaders for voidshell stuff put together. Otherwise, it doesn't seem right to have new frames released without the option on their base skins. Yes. Yes. A sane person. A mild take. A take that makes sense. Holy wow, I'm getting heated now because like all these comments just make no sense, and then this guy just manages to actually have an opinion that isn't brain broken. Jesus. It'd be nice if they would would just do it for all Warframes in the future, due to the large overtaking it would be, or update older frames over time, kind of like they are doing voidshell skin for a certain frame. They could also do a redo of the base. Oh my, holy shit. Wow. They exist. People with common sense that are able to read someone's criticism and comprehend it. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, that's my suggestion. Why does it have to be only on voidshell skins? Why can't it be of the base skins of new Warframes? Why can't it be on deluxe skins? Why can't it be on primes? This guy fucking gets it. This guy is this guy is just smarter than all of these people. Just instantly, just. Oh my god! Short answer: they don't have built all the voidshell skins at the same time. They're doing batches. Don't worry, all frames will get them. Chill and be patient. Yeah, but my argument isn't why aren't they making them faster. My argument is why is it only on voidshell skins? Again, this is still this is not done in bad faith, I can tell. So, all right, that's all the comments. This video is, or recording or whatever, is pretty long. I rambled a lot, but I am going to post this on YouTube or somewhere and link it here. So if you're one of the commenters here, or if you're someone that just stumbled upon this video or rant or whatever you would like to call it, just know, nothing personal. I know I called some of you stupid. No hard feelings though. I don't know you guys. You're strangers on the internet. I don't hate any of you. Yeah, hopefully my opinion was made a bit clearer. Hopefully you are thinking about this a bit more. Hopefully you're considering some of the things I've said, like thinking about it, making your own opinion. Feel free to leave your own thoughts. I swear to God, if you comment with the exact same takes as a lot of these comments, even after watching my video, I hope you get help. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, that's it.